Hello and welcome to Do It Yourself Musician, and welcome to part 3 of my pedal board makeover. And last time, if you remember, we built the board, and this time we're finally going to get to put some pedals on that board. But first, the first thing you need to do before putting any pedals on your board is you need to play test your pedals one at a time. And the reason we're going to play test each one at a time is to hear if there's anything faulty with them. You can just plug them in line with your amp, and you want to listen for any switches that pop or any noises that it makes, if it hisses or hums or anything like that, or if the pots are noisy or just anything like that. Especially listen for if it adds any type of hissing that isn't already there. And it's best if you have some type of a loop switch like this Layla here, to switch them in. That way you can compare noise levels between the pedal in line and the pedal out. We've got an MXR carbon copy in here right now, as you can see, and I can switch it in and out, and you can't really hear that much difference. Check the switch to see if it pops or not. Check your knobs and see if they make any kind of weird noises in the jacks. Yeah, so that carbon copy, it's a newest pedal, so it's not really going to have any problems, but there you go. That's the first thing you want to do, is test each and every pedal by itself to kind of get a baseline, if it adds any noise or anything, or that maybe the pots are noisy, they need to be cleaned, or maybe even if there's something worse with the pedal, it needs to be fixed, and you want to do all that before you go to lock it down permanently or semi-permanently onto your pedal board. Now that we've play tested all of our pedals, we'll come back up here on the bench and check all of the hardware first thing to make sure that it's all tight. All of your switches, your jacks, your pots, the knobs themselves. Make sure everything's tight and in good shape. Now would be a good time to replace any broken knobs or anything. Like on this particular pedal, I had this first knob here, it had stripped out at some point, so I've just replaced it now before I put it on the new board. So you want to do all that kind of stuff now, any kind of pedal maintenance. If you had any scratchy pots that you discovered while you were play testing, such as I did with this OD1, I found it had some scratchy pots in it. You'll want to take the base off the pedal so you can get to the pots to spray some cleaner down in there to clean the pot. I use this Deoxit Fader F5, and the fader is a cleaner and a lubricant, which is great on any kind of a fader, and a pot is a fader. It has a carbon contact strip in there, which this thing is made to lubricate. And you'll want to just spray a little bit of this inside of each of your pots. You want to work them back and forth for a bit to get them get that cleaner nice and spread around. If the pots are really bad, you can feel them actually getting smoother as you do this. After that, I like to then go back and use some canned air or compressed air and blow the excess deoxit out of there. You can use a rag or something. I typically use a rag and I'll wrap it around the pedal and I'll blow that extra deoxit out of there. And be careful you don't blow it back in your face too. The reason you want to do that is you never want to leave excess oil or grease or cleaner of any kind in your pots or your jacks or anything. Deoxit does dry out after a while, the cleaner portion of it anyway. But like I said, it does leave a lubricant behind, and you can over lubricate that. I've actually had worked on different devices that had the pots were just drenched in oil in lubrication, and that's why they weren't functioning. I had to just get in there and clean that stuff out, and they started functioning right away. So always blow that excess out of there. You'll also want to clean your jacks on the side of your pedals, and I use these Q-tips for that. And what I do is I just spray a little deoxit onto the end of the Q-tip, and I just get an old can and use it to catch the excess deoxit, so you don't spray it on everything here. And just stick it in there and clean it. You can usually look down in there and see the different points of contact that to get at them to clean them. You can also open the pedals up, and if they're open frame type jacks, you can just clean them directly. These Boss pedals aren't that way, so just clean them from the side here. And you want to clean all of your jacks, whether they're signal jacks or even if they're like, tap tempo type jacks. That's the wrong pedal. Here's DD5. You got tap tempo on it. Just clean all of these jacks, and be sure not to leave any cotton down in there. Okay, after checking all the hardware, make sure it's all tight and good to go, you'll want to next make sure that you pull all the batteries out of all of the pedals. You'll want to open them up, whether they be Boss pedals or DODs or MXRs. Just take the bottom plate off and get those batteries out of there, because you don't want any batteries in your pedals if you're going to be putting them on your pedal board for a long period. Batteries tend to corrode and break open and leak corrosion everywhere on your pedals. After that, you do that, or while you're doing that, I should say. Let me open up this OD1 here. When you take your batteries and such out, you'll want to tape over these battery snap clips with a little electrical tape. Just take a little E-tape and wind it around these 9-volt clips. And that's so they won't short out against the interior of the pedal, which in some certain instances in some pedals that can cause noise. It can cause a lot of noise, in fact, in some particular instances. So you'll want to do that to all of your pedals before you put them on the board. All right. Anyway, while you're doing this, is a good time to think about how you're going to attach all your pedals to your board. I, of course, recommend either Velcro or 3M DualLock. That's pretty much all I ever use because it's the best way to do it. unless it's something that can't be held down by that stuff, which I've yet to find much that I can't really find a way to hold it down with DualLock. So you need to figure out how you're going to attach the DualLock or Velcro, whichever one you're going to use, to your particular pedals. If it's a pedal like this carbon copy, it's easy, you know, because carbon copies have no labels and they're flat, ready to just take Velcro DualLock. If you have a vintage pedal like this, or you just want an extra layer of protection for your pedals, you could put some of that blue painter's tape on here first, then put the DualLock on it. You do, of course, run the risk that that blue painter's tape comes off later. So I don't do that. I just go directly on the pedal surface, and then I'll take care of it some other way if it's vintage, which I'll show you in a second. Here's a BYOC vibrato, which I've shown in some of my other videos. It's the same way. It's just a nice flat smooth painted surface, and I just put the DualLock right on it. Something like this OD1, this particular OD1 is an actual this is a vintage 1979 OD1, and it has the sought after 14 pin chip in there, if you can see that down in there. That's the NEC chip. So this pedal, you know, it goes on eBay for $450. It's a quite valuable pedal, and you don't want to ruin the label on that, the black label. And we'll do an edit while I grab that. Okay, here's the OD1 bottom plate for this pedal, the original. See, this is the original black label plate for this OD1. It's in really good shape, and I just take them off and replace them instead of trying to jack with putting any kind of Velcro DualLock on these pedals, which you can do, but definitely you don't want to do it on a vintage pedal like this, because you're going to ruin it if you ruin the black label. I just put the screws in a little bag on the bottom and mark what it is very clearly, so I could attach it later if I'm ever gonna sell the pedal or return it to its original condition. What I put on Boss pedals instead are these bottom plates that you can get from Small Bear Electronics. These don't cost very much, and they're just nice flat pedals base plates that you can put on your pedals. Let's put this one back on here. So you see how this goes on. Yeah, you see they're not a perfect fit from Small Bear. You do have to do a little fitting of them. If you can see on the OD1, the old style, the old Bosses, actually their power jack comes all the way down out of the bottom of the case, and it forms part of the lip. If you look at a newer Boss pedal, you see it doesn't do that. So in some instances with the Small Bear plates, you will have to do a little filing to make them fit properly. All right. Let's look at a more modern Boss pedal. This is a CH1 Super Chorus. This is the analog version, and yeah, that was on upside down. But a lot of times you will read on forums and hear this advice of flipping a Boss base plate over and putting your Velcro on this side. I would strongly suggest that you not do that. And the reason is most of them don't actually fit that way. There is not enough relief between the circuit board and the rubber to get them to fit. I know the DD5, or at least my DD5, it will not fit the rubber upside down without some type of gap between the base plate and the pedal, and you do not want to leave a gap there. This one really doesn't fit. It's pretty close. It doesn't fit for sure with the little plastic circuit board protector on there. It does kind of fit without it, like that. But there's still a little bit of gap there, and the biggest problem with what's happening there, though, is that by doing that, the rubber on this base plate is pushing on that circuit board, and you do not want that to happen as you're repeatedly stepping on this pedal and you're having the rubber of this base plate stress this circuit board. You just don't want to do that. So I do not recommend flipping any Boss base plates over. Again, the best thing for the Boss pedals are the small bare plates. I've got one here that hasn't been fitted, and let's see what happens when I put this on here. Yeah, as you can see, it nearly fits. I mean, I could actually just go ahead and screw that on. There's a little bit of a gap there. I'll probably take a file to it and just file it a little bit right here on this shoulder. File some of this little lip off just a bit around here, just so it goes completely flush. But yeah, that's how I mount all Boss pedals. You can, like I said, if it's a newer pedal and maybe if it's already missing its sticker label, you can put DualLock or a little strip of Velcro on these. And the way to make them stick is to use a heat gun to heat up the adhesive on the back of the Velcro first, then put it on. And it'll usually stick at that point. It's not as permanent as doing these small bare bottom plates, though. That's for sure. Next, we'll have a look at the Boss FS5U. These also have a rubber on the bottom. Unfortunately, if you take this rubber off, you're left with a weird skeletal base plate that really doesn't work, and there's like a giant holes in there, which will just get the switch full of dirt, and you don't want to do that. So I stick DualLock and Velcro right to this rubber by heating it up just like you do on the regular pedals first. Just use a heat gun, heat the adhesive up, and then put it down on here, and that usually makes it stay. For added security, you can actually drive a very short self-tapping screw through the DualLock or Velcro into this rubber, and make it hold better that way. These pedals are pretty much a dime a dozen, so it's not going to kill it if you do that. Let's have a look at this DOD. Again, I've heard people say flip the base plate. It doesn't work at all on a DOD, actually, for two reasons. One, the rubber just doesn't fit. Second, there's a lip here that the door engages onto to shut. So if you flip it, yeah, that does you no good. The best things with the DOD is to actually just remove this rubber, which is generally a fairly painless process. It can be difficult. Whatever you do, don't peel the rubber off like that and bend the sticker over itself, because you're going to put a lot of little fold marks in the sticker, which is not going to be good. Just get something flat and sort of pry it up. This particular piece of rubber is already really coming off, so I'm just going to pull it. Yeah, it came off really easily. Not hard at all. So that leaves a nice flat surface to deal with for your Velcro, your DualLock. DualLock will be fine on this with the screws stick up a bit on there. DualLock will get around that because it's a 1/4 inch in its mated height, which will be over that. You might have trouble with Velcro though, so you might have to get some different screws if you're going to do that, some flush screws. There is some stickum left on here. And any kind of sticky crap on pedals, I always use this Ballistol stuff to get rid of it. This is basically this is gun oil, basically. But it gets rid of sticky crap like quick. I mean, price tag junk or just junk from rubber pads or Velcro, whatever. This will take it right off. This is also really good stuff just to clean pedals and any metal musical instrument equipment at all. It's a good thing to clean it with because it'll actually protect the metal. If you clean some rust off something, you can treat it with this afterwards, and it'll help protect against rust. This also is good on leather too. So there's a little tip for you. And I think the last thing for this I want to look at is I want to look at the Layla loop switcher here. It's got a weird bottom on it. If you can see that, it's got these weird molded or stamped metal things. It still shouldn't be too much trouble. I'll just pull these little rubber feet off and use DualLock in between them or something to set that down. It shouldn't be too bad. Oh yeah, quick look at the rat. I always take the feet off the rats, put the screws back. I pull the door off because it's thick, and also that big screw that's on there. I just put all that stuff in a Ziploc bag for safekeeping. Unfortunately, in some of the old rats, this serial number sticker is just really stuck down on there, and it's a lot of times right where you want your Velcro or DualLock to be. So I just go around it. There's not much else you can do. On newer ones, you can sometimes pry that sticker off there and then put it in the bottom of the battery compartment. That's what I do. Just get them out of the way so they're not in danger of getting ripped up anyways. And that is pretty much it for servicing your pedals before they go onto the board. Let's talk a little bit about Velcro and DualLock. These are the two preferred things to use to put pedals on a pedal board. Velcro is fine. It's great stuff. This is the industrial strength Velcro, which is what you should buy if you're gonna use Velcro. It holds really good, just strong stuff, and you typically will put the loop side, which would be the furry side, on the pedal board, and your hook side or the plastic side on your pedals. This stuff is great. I've got really no problem with Velcro. I think it's fine to use. I do, however, find advantages to using DualLock over the Velcro, and I can tell you what that is, or what those are. First of all, if you haven't seen DualLock before, this is what it is. It's not really Velcro. People call it, they use the word Velcro. Velcro is, of course, a trademark. It's not really a hook and loop thing either. It has these sort of, you can see them there. They're kind of like, I don't know, people call them mushroom heads there, and they lock into each other. If you can get this on, if I can get this on camera, you can see how they snap into each other like that. All right. What that does, or the outcome of that, is that this stuff is super strong. It holds far better than Velcro. The Velcro, industrial strength Velcro especially, it holds really good. I mean, like I said, I don't have anything against it really. I just find more benefits from DualLock. DualLock is a stronger hold than Velcro for sure. In fact, if you standard way I stick a pedal down would be a strip at the bottom, strip at the top. That's pretty much the maximum you want to do, because that much DualLock on a pedal stuck down to your board, I mean, it's difficult to get the pedal back off. I mean, which is a good thing for two reasons. One is it makes your pedal secure on there when you're traveling around. And two is it provides a little bit of security. Like I've shown this before, this is a very expensive pedal. And I feel safer with it dual locked down rather than Velcro down, because if someone ran up and tried to rip this off my board when I wasn't looking, they're probably going to break several fingernails at least trying to get it off. That's if they get it off. I mean, it's that strong. You need, typically I keep a little pry bar around to pry pedals off the board when I use this stuff. I mean, it's very secure, and I mean, I guess that's probably its primary asset, is that it's really, really secure. Another thing I like about it too is it's locked, interlocked height. You can see this is two pieces locked together here, and this is the standard DualLock. DualLock comes in different flavors. I'll show you that in a minute. But this is the standard, and you can see it has about a 1/4 inch of mated height there. And the advantages of that is that you have plenty of room with DualLock to run cables under pedals and things, whereas with Velcro you really won't have that. It'll be it doesn't have that thick of a surface on it, so you can't really run things under your pedals. For a neat looking board, that's really critical, is to be able to run a few cables under pedals. The other thing is that the adhesive on the DualLock is really, really good, though truth be told, it is good on the industrial strength Velcro too. I typically use a heat gun to heat up the Velcro when applying it. Don't always do that with the DualLock. I mean, I get pretty good holds with the DualLock without the heat gun, actually. It just kind of depends. And those are the main strengths of it, the positives that I can see, is that it has a really strong hold, the working height of it, and the really good adhesive hold that it has, and also it comes off clean too when you take it off. I would say drawbacks to DualLock is it's expensive. It's fairly expensive. The best place I've found to buy it is off Amazon. You're gonna save the most money buying it there, and I usually buy it in these. What are these? These are 10-foot packages in here, and that's plenty. It just comes in a nice big fat roll there, and you can do a couple pedal boards usually with 10 feet. So I just buy it in 10-foot rolls from Amazon. That's generally the best way I've found to buy it. You can of course buy it in larger quantities. And there's basically two kinds of DualLock that I personally use. One is the standard, what I want to call the standard stuff here, which is the 3560. This is clear. This is clear. Like, this is the stuff I have here. It's a clear color. You can get it in a black color, which I think is the 3550, I believe, is the black stuff. But this is the one that's, like I said, it's going to have the mated height of nearly a 1/4 of an inch. It's 0.23 of an inch, and that's the the 3560 or 3550, depending on what color you want it to be. And that's what I consider the standard stuff. I'll use this more than anything. If there's a special instance where I don't want the height of this, say like I'm trying to use a riser or something and I have to lock the riser down and then lock the pedal on top of the riser, well, this is going to add a 1/4 inch each time. So 2 layers of this and you're going to have another 1/2 inch. And that may rise the pedal up too high. In that case, I'll go to this 4570, which is the thin low profile. It has a engaged thickness of 0.098 or 2.5 millimeters, and you can see this it's really thin. We made it together here. You can see, yeah, it's really thin mated together. This, however, is not as strong. It just purely isn't as strong as the standard stuff. So I only use this in special occasions. The other thing to know with DualLock are these numbers, these 250, 250. They have like 400, 170. Basically the 250, 250 is just going to be one roll of DualLock that you're going to cut and mate to itself. Okay. You can mate other things. You can mate the 400 to the 170, or you can mate the 250 to the 400 or whatnot. Some guys do that stuff. I don't. I just stick 250 on 250 and it's fine. If you buy one of these bags that says like 400, 170, it's actually going to include 2 different kinds in here that you're going to mate together. But that's actually another advantage of using DualLock, is that if you want to just use the 250, you've only got one surface. The stuff on the pedal board and the stuff on the pedal is the same, unlike Velcro where you've got 2 things you're dealing with. If you just use one kind of DualLock, it's just easier for you. Though, having said that, they typically will mate. They pretty much all mate. DualLocks all mate together in some way, some stronger and some less strong. In fact, DualLock will actually mate to the hook on Velcro pretty darn good. You can see how hard that is on there. Doesn't really go to the hook, but yeah, it mates with the loop really good, actually. So if you got a pedal with this stuff on here, you can just stick it right on your board. If you've got the loop on it already, the Velcro loop, you can just plop a pedal that has DualLock on it, bam, just right on your board, and it'll actually work. But I pretty much do all of my pedal boards with this stuff right here, the 3560. It's a clear 250, 250. It's simple, it's strong, it's good holding stuff. I'm not really partial to either clear or black. I tend to just use the clear stuff because I think it hides a little better, but it kind of doesn't matter. And those are a few thoughts on DualLock and Velcro. Next, we'll take a look at the cables I'm going to use to wire this board up.